Welcome to A Canadian Investing in the U.S., a podcast and YouTube channel focused on Canadians buying real estate with host Glenn Sutherland.
Welcome to another episode of Canadian Investing in the U.S. This week, my guest is Deandre Anderson. We had Deandre back on episode 180, and he's talking about doing land. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to mention this because you just talked about this a second ago. Deandre, I always chat beforehand, but he was like, actually, people reach out to me, right? If you guys are actually especially Canadians investing in the US and you want to some people to, you have a product or you have something you want to offer or you want to just come on the show, leverage my network, Deandre was just telling me some people reached out from the show, from the last show. So seriously, there's some value here. Anyway, without further ado, Deandre, let's start by giving people a bit of an intro to yourself and then we'll get into this again.
Yeah, hello everyone. So my name is Deandre. I'm a wholesaler, vacant land wholesaler, land investor, real estate investor, all the above, mobile home investor. I've been doing this since 2018, only 27 years old.
27. That's crazy, right? That's so good, right? I'm 13 years older than you. But anyway, awesome. In your 20s doing all this stuff. So you, I think what piqued my interest was we were talking online and you were showing me you're doing some development of mobile home parks or a small little community. Or tell us a little bit about what you're working on now.
Yeah, that's correct. So I basically purchased a 7-acre parcel, right? And then when I purchased it, I figured out that there was no zoning to the entire 7 acres. So it did come with a double wide mobile home on it. So I was like, okay. So I initially bought the property just for the mobile home as kind of like a rehab project, and then I'm like, well, I got all this extra land, what am I going to do with it? So I reached out to the county and I asked them about zoning and what can I do, stuff like that. And the person from the zoning department told me, hey, well, there's no zoning. And I was like,
no zoning? Is that a thing? I thought every lot.
I said the same thing, because where I live at is very populated. If you don't have there's always a type of zoning designation. So when the person said no zoning, I was like, but I still have to pull a permit to do what I want. They was like, yeah, you can pull a permit, but whatever it is, it'll likely get approved. And I was just like, wow. So that's kind of where the idea stemmed from. So I was in my head so I did purchase a 7-acre parcel with a double wide mobile home on it. And I was just thinking, what can I do to maximize all this land and all this acreage? So that's what came up with the idea. I think that I should slowly but surely build my own little mobile home park community.
Yeah, because those are hard to get permits, right? To build them right now. And you got the loophole right here. So whereabouts is this? What city is this around? I know it's gonna be in Florida somewhere, but whereabouts in Florida?
No, it's so it's actually in Mississippi. It's in Columbus, Mississippi. A small town, but it's definitely up and coming with some of the stuff that they're doing there right now.
Okay. So maybe let's backtrack a little bit. How do you find this land to start with, right? And then we'll get into how to do the rest of this.
Well, number one, I'm a land guy. So my first thing is land. So I look for land primarily, and I wholesale land to developers, building companies, flippers, stuff of that nature. So there are some type of land deals that I decide, I want to keep for myself, and I kind of pick and choose. So right. I was doing, I pull my list. I pay people to pull lists for me. And I use different third-party softwares like PropStream and DataTree, and it's a bunch of them out there. And then I do my skip tracing and my marketing. And once I start marketing to these sellers for these vacant lots, 1 acres, 2 acres, 8 acres, 10, infill lots, I get a variety of different sellers that start responding to me. So when they respond, then I just determine, am I going to wholesale this lot, or am I going to buy it and sell it, or am I just going to keep it for myself and do something with it? And the ones that I decide to keep, I have a very special, unique thing that I like to do with mobile homes. If it's zoned for mobile homes, or if there's no zoning at all, then I'm going to be on the edge of I think I should keep this. But it all stems from just marketing to vacant landowners.
Cool. So you're going to put some mobile homes on this. Don't know a lot about this myself, but you're doing development. So I'm guessing you got to come up with a site plan, running some sewer, electrical, all that jazz.
Yes. Yes. I had to learn that very quickly. There was no escaping. Yeah.
So tell me about that. How do you get the site plans? Do you just draw this up on a napkin? I'm guessing it's a little bit more organized than this, right?
A little more organized. So you basically, everything that you do is just like anything else. You basically hire out. You hire everything out. So in this area, there was no city water, right? So I had to hire, a septic company to install a septic system, right? It was a lot cheaper up there than it is down here. It was only $4,300 to install an entire septic system.
That would work for all of the homes?
Well, no, that's for one property.
Okay.
That was for one property, but when I compared the price to down here one, it was like 15 grand for an entire septic system, and that wasn't the end of it. So when they quoted me, I got a couple different quotes to make sure I was good, but the $4,300 when I went with that company, and that company who did my septic system, they actually drew up the site plans for I think it's the health department, whoever approves of the septic systems. Yeah, it's in Mississippi, it's the Mississippi Health Department. So because first thing you got to do, you got to get a perk test. Okay, so the company who does the septic system, they are the ones who do the perk test. Once they do the perk test, right, you submit it into the health department. Now they require the site plans. That person who did the septic also does the site plans. So once they get the site plans, once they get the perk test, and then I sent them a survey, then they came back with the perk test, the type of soil that the property has. Now my guy who does the septic system, now he can do the septic and basically move forward. But they were the ones who did my site plans. And the guy kind of told me to tread lightly a little bit. He was like, if you put too many properties on here too quickly, and then you start running into commercial zoning, and what you want to avoid right now, because if it turns to commercial, taxes are higher, fees are higher, things of that nature. But you can absolutely hire out somebody to do your site plans. You don't have to do them yourself. You don't put them on a napkin. You pay somebody to do it. And all of this stuff, you pay once everything is complete. There's no deposit. There's no, I'm paying. You don't pay anything until the health department comes out and says this septic system has been passed and approved.
So that's awesome.
Of that, yeah.
So you're building this plan, and say I'm picturing it to look kind of like a tree. You come in and it kind of spreads out and does it. So you just give them like the first branch or two, and then you stop there, or a couple homes, and you show them part of the site plan basically, and the other part will be like future phase 2 kind of thing.
Yeah, so you basically just show them like a branch. You don't give them the entire thing unless you want to do everything at once. It's different, but I'm basically just giving them a branch, one branch, another branch, kind of slowly but surely.
Okay.
Yeah, and then in the future you can do it. You could do another branch, or you could do multiple branches. You can do it in any way you want. It's really no zoning and no requirements. You really can do it how you want.
So you said you're outside of the city limits because you don't have the septic. So are you going to like what about wells? Like, do you need a well? Do you need water? Can you hook up to something, or do you have to figure that all out as well?
Well, so basically the guy who did the septic system, he also did that as well. So he did all the connections with the plumbing. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, this guy that I hired, man, he was like, so he's a licensed septic installer, right? He's also a guy that does what do you call like the driveways and the concrete if you need like a roadway concrete. He's a licensed plumber, so he was able to handle that, the sewer part as well. And then he's also a licensed electrician. I was like, dude, what else? What don't you do, man? Like, what? I'm like, do you do HVAC too? He was like, nah, I don't do HVAC. I was like, okay, great. Because I'm like, yo, I'm just trying to throw all these responsibilities on him. So he did it. So it's like, I kind of got lucky because he was, like I said, a plumber, electrician, concrete guy. He did my driveway. He built the electrical service. He connected the sewer. It did the septic system. And then he basically did, I would say, at least 80% of the job. But regardless, he still had to pull permits. He still had to go through his own process. But, I kind of got lucky finding a guy that, wore multiple hats.
I like it. So he's pouring this driveways. He's probably pouring the pads for where these homes are going to go. Where are you getting homes? Or you don't have to say the names, but like you getting some homes, you're going to put them in. Have you got to that point right now? Hello, everybody. Thanks for listening to the podcast. I just wanted to let you know that I've created a new coaching program. I believe the new coaching program has way more value than any of the programs that have even existed in the past. What we've done is pre-recorded all the lessons so that you can work through it at your own pace, which is pretty cool. And then we're going to meet up on a regular basis to answer the questions, do deal analysis, and actually spend our time together working on things instead of spending our time learning things. I think this will make a seamless transition to buying in the United States and will help you solve a lot of your problems. If this is of interest to you, go to glensutherland.com/coaching. I hope to help you guys invest in the United States, and I hope we provide as much value as possible. Back to the podcast.
Well, yeah. So you have options. So like I said, I bought the property with a double wide mobile home on it. So I put some guys in there, rehabbed it, and I started renting that one out. So I have a double wide that's being rehabbed and rented. So for the first home, I decided to go with a single wide mobile home, and I went to a mobile home dealer. Okay, so the mobile home dealers, they're all in all 50 states in the United States, they're everywhere. You basically reach out and contact them and let you know that you give them the parcel that you have, they go out there to take a look at it. And then once they come back, they let you know what your options are. Double wide, single wide, and then you have make, models, and then different manufacturers, all that stuff, right? And then they got, and then some of these mobile homes, they can get really pricey, and then some of them can be really cheap. So my plan is to create kind of like a small mobile home community where I rent these out. And then in the future, I sell the homes and just, charge lot rent, which is the whole purpose of a mobile home park. You make money from the land, you know what I'm saying? So that's basically the entire scheme of things.
I like it. And then so this is maybe pop back a little bit in our conversation. So you're running all these electricals and utilities and everything in. You submeter all these things, or do you run a separate line to each one?
It's a separate line. It's all separate line. Everything is separate. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's cool, because then you don't even have to deal with the bill. So you can get them to set it up all on their own. You can walk away from it. Like, for instance, with some of my properties, like I don't pay utilities for tenants. But some of them we have to submeter, charge, it gets charged to me, and then we have to go and, get the tenants to pay me back.
Basically, right? You got to bill it back, charge to you, then you bill it back to the tenant, right?
Yeah, it's kind of a pain in the butt, 'cause it comes off your cash flow. You get it later, but you got to live off this stuff, right?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, it's all separate. And the tenant pays all water, all electricity, all of that stuff. So all utilities. Obviously in the beginning, when you're in the beginning phases, you have to get the water on. You got to get the electricity on. So you're going to be billed for that in the beginning. I basically just consider it into my holding costs. Like while this is being built, while I'm fixing it up, while I'm doing this, I'm billed. But then once everything is complete and you get that letter from the building department saying your mobile home has passed the inspections, now you get a tenant in there, and then you transfer all the utilities over to the tenant. You basically cut the utilities off. Like I cut it off, and then it's up to them to put it in there. So we make sure, hey, the utilities will be cut off in the next 3 to 5 days. You have to call the water company, the electric company. Here's their number, here's their name, here's their website. Make sure you switch it now, because the service will stop. So if they don't do it within a certain amount of time, they're going to be in the dark and without any water. So we transfer that, and we make it very clear. The service is going to stop. Make sure you transfer it as soon as possible.
Cool. You said holding costs a second ago. What do you got for holding costs? How much? You don't have to say numbers, but like, what do you have to hold on?
Gotcha. So with the holding costs, you got your water bill, you got your light bill. You also got property insurance. Okay. So you always want to, that's the first thing that you want. Even with a mobile home, you need property insurance. So insurance costs, water, sewer. You also have the property taxes, right? You have to pay your property taxes on the mobile home. Is considered personal property. So the mobile home is considered personal property, not real property. So it's separate from the land. So the property taxes is another holding cost. And then obviously any debt, if you use a line of credit, if you borrow any money, then you have that holding cost as well.
So do you use, for your land, when you were buying that, you used to use the line of credit to purchase it? Is that?
Well, so when I initially purchased the parcel, I used my own cash that I made from wholesaling land. So because it was cheap, it was only $53,000 to get 7 acres of land with a double wide mobile home. So I was thinking about taking doing the debt route or the credit line route, but it just didn't make sense to me. So I wanted to own it free and clear. And then when I want to get the second mobile home, with the second home on it, the mobile home dealers offer financing. So you can get financing through the mobile home dealers. And then obviously if you have any extra lines of credit, you can use that for down payments and all the extra stuff. But I initially funded this whole thing with my own cash in my bank, basically.
And then whenever you turn, so you get a tenant in there, and maybe you turn those tenants into like, they're going to buy the properties. I'm assuming, are they going to buy them straight out? Or are they going to do like a rent to own, or how do you kind of take that off your books?
So what I'm going to do is it's not going to be like a rent to own. They're actually going to own it, but it's going to be more like a seller finance. So it's going to work just like that. So they're going to give me a down payment. I'm going to basically hold a note for them, and they're going to be making the payments. But I'm also going to add what's called lot rent. So they're going to be paying me a mortgage plus whatever the lot rent is. That way you transfer all the repairs, the maintenance, the capital, the CapEx, everything from you transfer over to that tenant. So that way you have less expenses, and your only job is just to manage the land itself, which will give you a lot less problems than the properties. So that is a future goal of mine. Right now, I own the land and I own all the homes, but the goal is to put up all the homes and then put up the homes, sell them to the tenants, and then just connect the note from the mortgage, and then collect the lot rent. That's the ultimate goal.
I love it. And then, so are you gonna manage these notes, or are you gonna get a servicing company just to do all this stuff for you?
Service. I'd rather go through a servicing company to do it for me. I'll pay whatever, it makes it easier for me. Yeah.
It sounds like a lot of headaches depending on how many units you're going to go. Actually, I never asked you. So how many units are you doing off the start, and what's the big plan overall?
So right now there are three units there right now. The overall plan with the 7 acres, I believe, is going to be 15 in total.
That's awesome.
The goal is to get 15 total. Obviously, I have to get it approved to through the Mississippi Health Department, but 15 is the goal. So I think if I can do anything between 12 to 15, I'll be really happy about that.
That's awesome. And then, like, you don't have any debt really at all, because you bought the land with cash. You're going to put all this financing through the mobile home, dealer. Is the plan to refi at any point, or just continue to ride that out and leave it all in cash and just collect the cash flow from that? What's the end game on this?
So the goal is to do a huge cash out refi. Once everything is, because I'm not gonna say it's gonna be a lifelong project, but it's gonna be a project that takes a couple of years. So once everything is done and complete, I'm gonna be getting in contact with more of the local banks and seeing if they want to do a cash out refi. Because this market in Columbus is very small, and then they have a big rural market. So a lot of people here, it's a little bit different from where I live in Florida. They like their space. They don't really like people on top of them. They got horses in the yard. They got their barns. It's very quiet, so it's a little different. So I would definitely want to do, try to use more of a local bank, local to the area, because they will basically understand. I think they'll understand it better than, some bank all the way where I'm at, and they're trying to understand an investment in Mississippi. I just think that's going to be, problematic.
Yeah. So do you think you're going to be able to find more land like this that's either no zoning or has the zoning to be able to put mobile home parks or more mobile homes on it?
Yeah. So basically what I've been doing now, I've been targeting basically parcels that are around the same area as mine. So where my property is located, it's like a lake about 2 minutes away. And in between my property and the lake, there's other parcels, 15 acres, 8 acres, 10 acres, 1 acre, 2 acres. I've literally been sending them mail, reaching out, contacting them, because if I can do this here, then I'm trying to gain control of some more parcels in the same area as well. So I have been reaching out and marketing to them. Nothing yet, but I'm kind of mad because I did just see one that just sold, and I'm like, man, I tried to get that one. Like, I think it was already under contract before I started marketing, and I seen the recent sale, and I was like, yo, I was literally targeting this and I couldn't get it. But there's other opportunities there. And honestly, I don't see a lot of LLCs purchasing in this area. Like, when I look around this specific subdivision, it's mostly, mom and pop, like Mr. and Mrs., not many LLCs or corporations. So I think that I'm one of the first LLCs to purchase a parcel in this area with this plan. Every other, because I've looked at the data, I've seen it. Everybody else over there is more mom and pop, Mr. and Mrs., or they may have transferred the property to their kids' name, stuff like that. But not much LLCs in that area that are doing this.
That's awesome. So I guess my next question: people wanted to reach out to you. People want to get on the list to see if you got some other properties, some other land, wanted to, maybe work with you on something like that, or maybe buy some of the land off of you, or buy some of the contracts off you. How do they track you down?
So they can text or they can call me at 407-907-1646. Shoot me a text or shoot me a phone call.
Awesome. Anything else I should have asked you? I think that there's going to be a lot of people interested in this. You might get to, especially a lot of people are interested in this development, especially doing like a mobile home park, because it's not the same cost, the same capital cost as going to develop a apartment building or something like that. Right?
Yeah, I would just say that it is possible, and there's if you look in the more rural markets, so if you're in a very populated area, I would go an hour, 2 hours out and start targeting those areas, and I would be calling the zonings and seeing what the zonings are, or if there's any zoning at all. So that's number one. And then number two, as far as with the mobile homes themselves, I do want to mention you can go direct to seller on these as well. I did buy the first mobile home from a mobile home dealer, but the third home I bought direct to seller, and I found it on Facebook Marketplace. There are tons and tons of tons. If you typed in mobile homes on Facebook Marketplace, right, you're going to see a plethora. You're going to see thousands and thousands at different prices, different areas. There's all these people that have mobile homes. Honestly, some of them are willing to even give them away for free, depending on the condition. And most of the time when you read the description, it's going to say, must be moved, must be moved, must be moved, right? So because they either moving it from the park, or in my case, I bought the mobile home from the guy, and then I had to move it because they were going to be building a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom home there, so they needed it gone. So some people are giving away mobile homes for free, and some people obviously they're willing to sell them at a discount if you can get the property moved. So you can market to them and reach out to them just like you do any landowners, house owners. If you're looking to flip, you can even buy them from wholesalers, right? Because this is separate, but I just bought a duplex in Jacksonville, right, from a wholesaler, right? You could do the same thing. You could buy the mobile home from the wholesaler, or you could even buy the land from the wholesaler, because I wholesale land and I buy it as well. So it's a lot of opportunities with the mobile homes. There's more mobile homes than there is land available, I would say, where you can actually do this. But once I shared the mobile home park idea with some people, they were kind of hitting me up because they didn't even know that you could do that. Like, I know people who do mobile home investing full time, and they were unaware that you could build your own. Like, hey, like I want to build my own park. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that I'm actually doing it is kind of like, I'm even surprised with myself, because that wasn't the initial plan. But when you buy an investment, whether it's land, a mobile home, an apartment, whatever it is, your goal is to try to maximize the cash flow. How can you maximize every inch? If it's apartments, if you need to put in washer and dryers, if it's a storage, maybe you can add more, you can add 10 more units. So basically always looking for value add opportunities. So the value add I saw in this, it only had one home on it. It was messed up. I had several acres on it. So I bought it, fixed it up, rented the house out. Now I've added since then 2 more mobile homes, right? So I've added 2 additional sources of income from the same parcel of land.
Yeah, it's awesome. You're saying, you're speaking my language, value add, opportunities. Love this. Awesome. Deandre, thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. Once again, and I think you're back on episode 180. You guys are listening to this and you like this conversation, which obviously if you're still here right at the end, you loved it. So go check out 180 as well with Deandre as well. And I met Deandre. I never even talked about it this time, but I met him because he was wholesaling me properties in Florida, and was that 2 years ago or something, right?
Right.
When we used to do the actual houses. So you never know. Some of these connections you make, just networking, it's incredible, right? Who knows what's going to come down the path from this or down the future. But once again, Deandre, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. Thank you.